done to improve pedestrian access to the new stations?
Actually, I'll start working on that as soon as the ribbon is clipped today, because I haven't really spent a lot of time talking to the advocates about, okay, now that we've got them open, what should we do with pedestrian access? I like the proximity to the W&OD trail. We got to think about biking options, but I haven't yet started to talk to local leaders about that. And that's probably a little more in the kind of local government space than in the federal side, although we have funding through the infrastructure bill, which was signed a year ago today. We have funding in that infrastructure bill that can be used for pedestrian access.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Smedberg, and I'm chair of the Metro Board of Directors. And on behalf of the board and Metro staff, I want to welcome you here today. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Welcome to the opening ceremonies for the second phase of the Silver Line. Thank you for joining us today at the Dulles Airport Station, where leaders began planning for Metro to connect trains and planes in the 1950s. They saw the possibilities, and generations of leaders created the opportunities. There's an old saying that is particularly relevant today: victory or success has 1,000 fathers, and I would add today, mothers. Many of you are here today, elected officials, former office holders, MWA board members, WMATA general managers, and staff. Thank you for your contributions throughout the years. With the completion of the Phase 2 of the Silver Line, we fulfilled the promise of connecting communities, connecting trains and planes, and creating better places to live, work, and play. Today represents the best of what transit can do. It is not only a special day for the Commonwealth, but for this region, but particularly for the people in this region, because we will be connecting them to opportunities and possibilities. I want to recognize the leadership of our board members. First, my colleague from Virginia, Loudoun County Supervisor Matthew Letourneau, Lucinda Babers and Tracy Lowe from the District of Columbia, Don Drummer from the state of Maryland, Sarah Klein and Camila Martin Proctor, who represent the federal government. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, our new Metro General Manager, Randy Clarke.
Well, good morning, everyone. I join our board and staff in celebrating all of you who were able to make this day possible. For me, today is also most important, really most importantly, because of the reason we really exist at Metro, and that's about serving our customers. They will have a better way, as the chair said, more convenient, greener, more affordable way to get around, to get to work, to get to school, to get to shopping, get to healthcare, entertainment, and this amazing airport, which is a gateway to the world. I'm excited today for our customers and my Metro colleagues, and I know they're excited too. So let's take a quick moment and hear from this video how they are excited. That's why we're here, right? To serve people. So we can open these 6 new stations to the public as soon as possible, because I'm sure there's some people actually already lined up at different stations. It's my job to actually keep us running on time today. So we have a number of people that will be recognized today, and we're going to ask everyone to keep your remarks brief to help us open the doors to customers that have been waiting here for decades for the Silver Line to open. So let me first recognize the amazing team here today from the U.S. DOT. So we will be hearing from Secretary Buttigieg in a few minutes, but I also want to acknowledge other members of the Secretary's team. Deputy Secretary Polly Trottenberg is with us today. FTA Administrator Nuria Fernandez and Deputy Administrator Vanderpool with us today. And I want to also recognize all of our partners at the WMSC in the crowd today, both staff members and board members, our state oversight partner with our committed mission to operate the safest system in the country. So thank you today as well. I also want to recognize there's so many contractors, consultants, and labor partners that have done so much to get us here today, but a special recognition to Ray Jackson and Rudy Gardner that are with us here today. We work every day in partnership, so thank you for your leadership. Also, actually, it happens to be directly in front of me, I want to recognize our Commonwealth of Virginia Secretary of Transportation, Shep Miller, and Secretary of Commerce and Trade, Karen Merrick, are with us today. We also have some former general managers in the crowd, and I guess I'll have that honor one day. Hopefully not for a while. Put that on the record. Put that in the record, board members. Don't get the media any ideas. So we have former CEO, General Manager Dick White, Jack Requa, and Paul Wiedefeld. So thank you for all of your leadership and work over the years. And then lastly, I want to thank all of the staff. I have the privilege of working with 12,000 colleagues that are dedicated 24/7, 365 as public servants for this region. And I specifically want to call out a couple people. Well, a lot of people made this happen. Our Executive Vice President of Capital Delivery, Andy Off, Lynn Bowersock, our Senior VP of Silverline Startup, Shiva Pant from the project team has been working on this for a long time. And then a special recognition, if you'll join me on this one. Neil Knott has been actually working on this program for over 20 years. And Neil's over here, and Neil's now going to be horribly embarrassed and be upset that I called him out because he's probably the most humble public servant I've met. But over 20 years of your career working on the Silver Line. So Neil, Merry Christmas. That's what today is for you. So with that, let's get on with our program. It's my pleasure to introduce our first guest, and I think maybe the happiest person in the world to see this project complete, and that's Jack Potter, who's the general manager of the Airport Authority. It goes without saying that we wouldn't be here today without Jack and the Airports Authority. We appreciate Jack's steadfast commitment to getting this across the finish line and the countless people involved in this effort. We are, of course, particularly excited to be celebrating here today at Dulles, and they got a big event later this week as well, and it's providing a vital connection to this region. Jack, thank you for hosting this with me today.
Thank you, Randy, and it is a happy day. It's a happy day for everyone. So first of all, I want to thank those people who 70 years ago thought about rail to Dulles, because when they built this airport, they built an access highway, and right down the middle, there was the transit lane. So those people thought of it. Think about what happened then. The ball got handed off. The torch got handed. Who did it get handed off? To the politicians, to the folks leading MWA, to the folks leading WMATA, to the counties, to the state. In our front row here, Senator, then Governor Tim Kaine had a big role. Senator, then Governor Mark Warner, Congressional Chairman Gerry Connolly, then County Executive. I could go on and on and on. Let's face it, folks, it took tens of thousands of people. I thought about how many people have contributed to this. Tens of thousands of people. Some people tell me, I lost my job over this. I lost an election over this, but it's the right thing to do for Northern Virginia, for the airport. And so I'm delighted here today to welcome you to this new beautiful station at Dulles Airport. It's going to serve this metro area for years and decades. In fact, we built it to last at least a century, and it will. And so I want to thank everyone who contributed. I can think of all of the folks who were my partners in the counties, the folks that were partners from the state of Virginia, the federal government. Everybody had a hand in this, and if you breathe, I made you a partner. So thank you for all of the good work that you did, right? That's what happened. But the real work was done by the folks who were on the ground for the last, I think it's 14 years. The folks who stepped up and came to work every day, blood, sweat, and tears, they made it happen. And so a lot of them in this room today, thank you, each and every one of you. I wish I could call your names out, but you all contributed. Whether that was as a board member, a laborer, an engineer, whatever it happened to be, you made a great contribution. I hope you walk out of this building proud, and every time you see one of these stations, I want you to be proud of the work that you did because you made a great contribution. Now, we're going to hand it off to WMATA. It's WMATA's job to make sure they run a safe, reliable, efficient system. And they need support. They need financial support. They need support from the business community. We have to get transit to these stations, buses to the stations. We have to build and effectively use the land around those stations to contribute to the economy. And by the way, the more you build, the more passengers I have. So I'm being selfish here, right? And going forward, we want you to be able to move not only around the metropolitan area, but around the country and around the world. And I'm going to close with this. Remember, when you're flying around the country, around the world, take the Silver Line, and fly Dulles. Thank you very much. Now it's my distinct honor to... Are you going to do this?
Jack, the way you're going, you should keep... I love it.
Well, they told me to do it, but Randy, I'll let you do it.
No, Jack.
So it's my distinct honor to introduce the Senator from the Commonwealth of Virginia, our partner, and a partner for a long time in the Silver Line, Senator Mark Warner.
Thank you, Jack. Good morning. What a great, great day. I want to echo what has already been said to all of the folks who've been involved in this project. A hearty thanks. I want to give you a little frame in terms of my involvement, Secretary Buttigieg. I first got involved, I'd been living in the region since I was an adult, but 1991, I was a member of the Commonwealth Transportation Board, and Kate Hanley, remember, we were going through a renovation on the toll road. And there was a move to say, why don't we open the access road to full-time traffic all the time? Ken, you remember this? And I remember a public hearing where it's like one of my first times in politics, where literally for 4 hours, I stood up and got yelled at by customers and citizens about why we wouldn't open up the access road permanently to traffic. If we'd done that, there would never be a Silver Line to the airport. And to put that in perspective, Mr. Secretary, I did some research. You were in 3rd grade. Think about that a little bit. And I got to tell you what a number of the speakers, with the exception of Jeff and Jennifer and the mayor, all of the speakers, and including my dear friend, the next speaker, Tim Kaine, what we have done, Randy, you're the new guy here, but what we have done in celebration of this grand opening, every one of these speakers are going to come with partially silver hair at this point. Lots of mention of people. I'm not going to call out all the formers, but I do think as a member of the Virginia congressional delegation, I want to acknowledge I'm going to acknowledge 3, but I saw 2 of them that were steadfast in support. Jim Moran and Tom Davis, who were here, and also, I don't know if Frank Wolf is here, but this has been a bipartisan commitment for decades and decades and decades and decades. 2 last quick points. One is, all these big projects include some sausage making. And I just think even within the last 6 months, my 42-year partner and friend Tim Kaine and I have had to have a couple of sessions, and I will put it in diplomatic parlance, where we brought together, for example, the leadership of the Airports Authority and the leadership of Metro to have a frank and candid exchange of ideas on how we can make sure we could get this project transferred over, and Jack was a very happy man when we were able to transfer that over to Metro. And then more recently, we had another, Tim and I, frank and candid exchange with the Safety Commission and with Metro to say we need to make sure this is the safest system in America, but that we also need to make sure we've got a path forward to get all those 7,000 series trains back into service, not only to help the Silver Line to Dulles, but to make sure that new stations like Potomac Yard and Alexandria, and the fact that ridership across the system, Maryland, DC, and Virginia, could know we've got a safe, reliable, and timely system. So I am grateful for that progress as well. I know I'm not taking senatorial prerogatives and talking forever, but this means huge amounts. Think about just this. In Wexton alone, we are in the process of $3 billion of development because of those metro stations. And we're going to see the kind of smart growth approach, building around metro stations in a way that will help our region, help all three of the DMV parts, and frankly, we now have that gateway for international travelers to our nation's capital. It's been a long time coming, but congratulations to all involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Warner, and I appreciate your frank and candid conversations that I've had with you. Now I'd like to have, I have the privilege of introducing your colleague for Virginia, Senator Tim Kaine. Many of you know Senator Kaine has a long history with this project, going all the way back to his days as governor when he was the champion for the Silver Line and investments in infrastructure across the Commonwealth. And we are very grateful for his ongoing support here at Metro and very happy he could join us here today. Senator Kaine?
Good morning. I was young when I started working on this 2 weeks ago. I became eligible and I registered for Medicare. I was the mayor of Richmond. It was the fall of 2000. I had told people I was going to run for lieutenant governor, and I came to Fairfax to learn some things about Northern Virginia. I went into an office with somebody that many of you know, who's long since passed, Gerry. In the office in Tyson's, there was a wooden mock-up of Tyson's Corner with an elevated rail station running through it. It had dust all over it. People were using it to store coats on top of it. I asked Gerry, what is that? And he said, we need to get rail to Dulles through Tyson's Corner. As lieutenant governor, I dug into it. My father-in-law, Linwood Holton, who was governor of Virginia, helped create the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority on assignment from President Reagan, and then became the first chair of MWA. So I talked to my father-in-law, Lynn, tell me about rail to Dulles. We've got to do it. Dulles is, along with the Port of Virginia, one of the two great assets we have to connect us to the global economy. I was elected governor in 2005. I hired a great Northern Virginian, Pierce Homer, to be my Secretary of Transportation. And I said to him, I don't know how, but I only have 4 years. And before I'm gone from here, this thing is going to be planned and financed and under contract and under construction. And in March of 2009, in my last year as governor, we broke ground on the Silver Line. Now, to get there, I was sued by members of the General Assembly. I think some of them might even be here today, taking credit along with me. We lost federal funding because an FTA administrator, after leading us down the path for a couple of years, ruled that we wouldn't get funding. But to her credit, President Bush's Secretary of Transportation, Mary Peters, overturned him, and we got federal funding. Folks, we have fought off everything other than a plague of locusts on this, and I don't want to jinx myself, but it is such an exciting thing. We are the capital of the free world, and to have top quality, first class, public rail connecting our international gateway to the beautiful DC is something that has it taken too long? Sure it has. Has it cost too much? Sure it has. But it's the right thing to do, and here we are. Last thing I'll say, I dreamt about this event over the weekend. Now, as President Biden would say, folks, no joke. This is not a joke. I dreamt about this event over the weekend, and this was my dream. I'm riding on the Silver Line to Dulles. Secretary Pete, you were with me. Mayor Bowser, you were with me. Mark, you were with me. A lot of you were with me. And we are riding on the Silver Line to Dulles, and when we get to Dulles, the Silver Line just takes off into the sky. And the most amazing part of my dream is no one was surprised in my dream. Of course the Silver Line will take off. Of course Dulles will take off. Of course Northern Virginia will take off. Of course America will take off. It's a great day.
Well, thank you, Senator Kaine, and I tell you, I was really scared to see what he was going to say when the train went to Dallas. So I'm happy we now are into flying trains. We might need some financial support on that, Mr. Secretary from DOT. So now it's my honor to introduce DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, who happened to be a former Metro board member herself. Mayor Bowser recently became only the second mayor in DC history to win a third term. There you go. Like to thank her for her ongoing leadership and support of Metro. I know she's just as excited as I am that the district residents can now jump on Metro and reach two amazing airports, both at Dulles here and at National. And so thank you, Mayor Bowser, for being with us. Please come up to the stage.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am indeed very excited to be here. Now I don't know what I'm more excited about, the opening or being mentioned in Tim Kaine's dream. But I promise you, I will retell that story. I also understand that we're celebrating the 60th anniversary of Dulles, so we have a lot to celebrate here today. So to my senators as well as yours, Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, thank you. Mr. Secretary, we appreciate your support, the entire Virginia delegation, my friends Jeff McKay in Fairfax and Phyllis, Randall and Loudoun. I know that you are staunch supporters of Metro. I want to just center my remarks on two groups of people, workers and travelers. What this station represents for all of us is DC residents being able to connect to jobs in our entire region and especially here in Dulles. So let's hear it for jobs for DC residents and all of our residents. What this station also represents is our region bouncing back and getting all of our travelers back. We know that we have been tops for international travel for many, many years, and part of our comeback from COVID is getting back to the nearly 25 million people who visited DC in the National Capital Region in 2019. And what this seamless, beautiful connection to Dulles Airport will allow us to do is to continue to highlight our new direct flights that we have announced over the last several years. Direct flights to India, to Madrid, to Tel Aviv, and I understand that there will be a new one to Cape Town just this week. So we know that when we can easily travel, when DC residents can get to work, and when all of the beautiful people in Virginia get back to work in DC, they can get on the train. And one thing I like to say is how proud I am of our system. And I know that many of you have had this experience. Going to cities and towns across America and indeed across the world, people say how beautiful our capital city is and how great our metro system is. And we all stand shoulder to shoulder as we have for many, many years, whether board members, elected officials, whether our workers. I want to thank the ATU for always sticking close and working hard for the metro system. We have delivered a great system for our region. And make no mistake about it, Metro is the economic engine of this region. We cannot grow without a safe and strong Metro. And DC is here to support it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor. I look forward to getting our ridership back up as all these people come in from around the world and as the mayor said, back into the office. So thank you, Mayor. Now it's my privilege to introduce Congressman Gerry Connolly from Virginia's 11th District. It would take some time to highlight all of the connections Congressman Connolly has to this project, as several speakers already mentioned. But needless to say, he has played a huge role over many years to get us here today, all while fighting to ensure Metro is serving the region every day. We thank him for these efforts and are, of course, delighted he is with us today. And also, I think we should thank Congressman Connolly as he comes up for all his amazing work at NATO as well. He is a strong leader in that, and I think it's really important for our country, the work he does. So thank you.
mirabile dictu. That means wondrous to relate. We are here at last. "60 years ago, a federal official wrote in a document as they were dedicating Dulles Airport, an empty white elephant airport at the time. I don't know, just spitballing, but we might want to think about a transit link. That was it. We're here 60 years later. 60 years it took for this day. Now, in the silent movie era, there was a famous series of movies called The Perils of Pauline. Pauline was this innocent, beautiful victim, and some horrible villain, snidely, with a big mustache, not like mine, curled up, big hat, and eventually he would tie her to the railroad tracks, and at the very last moment, our hero would come along and rescue her, untie her, and save her. But they went through a lot of perils to get to that point. This project was truly the perils of Pauline. The world, we filled up this space with people celebrating correctly. But I can tell you, when we began to try to revive this project 27 years ago, it was a lonely time and place. The world was filled with naysayers. Couldn't be done, we tried it, won't work, too expensive, nobody supports it. And I want to thank Kate Hanley, who was at the time chairman of the Board of Supervisors in Fairfax County, for having the guts and the vision to keep it alive. Kate, stand up and be recognized. We didn't have a lot of partners at that time, but we did have a vision. And Mayor Bowser, you talked about how important Metro is. A codicil to that, it is critical that the largest and wealthiest jurisdiction in the region be tied intimately to that system, Metro, and be a stakeholder and understand it is a stakeholder. I learned two things in doing this. One is that you have to help people visualize in order for something to go from the abstract thought to reality. And when we started actually rendering what this might look like, people started to buy in and believe in the possibility of it and be willing to finance it. And the second was getting big things done is hard, really hard. And it requires some political intestinal fortitude to stick with it. And I salute many. Jim Moran and Tom Davis are here. My colleagues are here. Governor Warner and Governor Kaine kept the flame alive during difficult years. And although Senator Kaine gives credit to Mary Peters, and credit is due, we had a hostile Bush administration that didn't believe in transit, didn't want to do this. So keeping it alive took everything we had. And it required people who had faith and belief and stamina and moxie. And I salute all of those who exhibited those qualities during those dark times and difficult times, because it made today possible. And we hand it over to future generations. And whatever it cost, and whatever the overruns, it's a return on investment. The return on this investment will be, I believe, incalculable as we go forward in the future, and will improve the quality of life and the environment for everybody. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for going through the perils of Pauline and making sure that we have a successful rescue because of that faith. God bless you all. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Congressman Connolly. So now I'd like to introduce Congressman Don Beyer from Virginia's 8th District. Congressman Beyer is someone I think who uniquely understands many of the benefits of transit, not least of which are reducing the region's notorious congestion, because it is bad, hence why I encourage everyone to get on Metro, and protecting our air and climate. Congressman Beyer, thank you for supporting Metro over your career and your shared vision for a cleaner environment for all of us. Thank you.
It's nice that they invite one car dealer here. Good morning. The Silver Line is the silver lining for everybody who works, learns, plays, and visits our nation's capital. We're making yet another major carbon reduction in emissions for decades to come. We're making life more convenient for all who commute, for who use the airport, time to read, sleep, answer emails, play Wordle, create fake Twitter accounts. We're saving untold millions in taxi and Uber fares while wishing for healthy adaptations for the drivers. We're building abundant social capital, linking together these thriving neighborhoods all along the Silver Line. And my wife will never have to drive to Dulles again at 11 at night to pick me up. The Silver Line is a once-in-a-generation community infrastructure paradigm shift that will change all of our lives in grand and in subtle ways. So I want to thank the county boards, the General Assembly, the Congress, the governors, the senators, the secretaries of transportation, the commissions, the myriad people who have spent 70 years putting this together. I'm going to tell my great-grandchildren that I was here when we cut the ribbon. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Beyer. Now I'd like to introduce Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton, representing Virginia's 10th District. As a state senator, the Congresswoman steered funding to Northern Virginia for infrastructure and transit that accelerated all the amazing development that we've seen in the region. It is really amazing, isn't it, when you go down the Silver Line, just the development on this corridor, you know? And think of what this is going to do further on, and this is based on the kind of work that Congressman Wexton is doing. Also want to particularly happy that know that she knows that rail is coming to Dulles. I know something she's really happy about, but also that Loudoun now will be part of the Metro system for the first time. So Congresswoman, thank you for your support, and please come on up.
Good morning. I'm not proud, I'm wearing my coat up here. It's absolutely freezing. If I want to get through my speech, I don't want my teeth to chatter too much. So do you smell that? That, my friends, is new Metro station smell. It's like new car smell, but it's much, much better because it's going to actually remove thousands of cars from our roads every single day. I'm so excited that this long-awaited grand opening of Phase 2 of the Silver Line is finally here. I've spent many years working towards and anticipating this day as a state senator, member of Congress, and most importantly, as a longtime Loudoun County resident. I'm honored to celebrate this major achievement with you and all, and want to thank our special guests who have joined us for this occasion, particularly our Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. Mr. Secretary, it's wonderful to welcome you to Virginia 10, where transportation infrastructure is always top of mind for everyone. Now, you may recall that when you came before the Transportation Subcommittee of Appropriations in April of 2021, I invited you to join what I believed would be the imminent opening of this Silver Line. Joke was on me at the time, but then you came before us in 2022, and I invited you again. And I want to thank you, Randy, for making sure that I didn't have to invite him a third time. I've represented this region in Richmond and in Washington for the past 8 years, and no matter where I go or who I talk to, transit and transportation always come up in a conversation. It usually falls into one of two related categories. First one being people want to know what we're doing about traffic so that they can get home from work quicker. Never to work, but home from work. And second, when are we going to open the damn Silver Line? Their words, not mine. In a region that's booming like Northern Virginia, we need reliable transit and transportation to support families, small businesses, and continued economic success. That's exactly what this Silver Line extension is going to do. It's have a transformative impact on Loudoun County and the entire region, making commutes safer and faster and easier for everybody. Improving access to our premier international airport right here at Dulles, and introducing visitors to the vibrant small businesses and thriving agritourism attractions in Loudoun County. Because this is just as much just as much as it's about moving people from Loudoun County to their jobs every day. It's also about moving people from the DC metro region here into Loudoun County to see all that this area has to offer. and we have so much to offer. I'm so proud of my work over the years, from the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission to the Transportation Subcommittee of House Appropriations, to deliver the support and oversight needed to make this Silver Line extension safe, reliable, and built for many decades to come. It's been a long journey, and I'm grateful to all those who helped make this project a reality. First of all, the Memoir team, led by President and CEO Jack Potter, Metro boards, particularly Chairman Paul Smedberg, with whom I served on the NVTC, new General Manager Randy Clarke, who I believe has traveled just about every mile on Metro's rail and bus transit system since he came here. And you should follow him on Twitter if you don't already, at WMATA GM. He's great on Twitter. You get a bunch of followers, by the way, it's because of me today. The Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation, my colleagues in the House and Senate who are here today, and last but certainly not least, I want to take a moment to thank the 5 members of the 2012 Board of Supervisors who voted in favor of this project a decade ago. Former Chairman Scott York, are you here? Good. Former Supervisors Ralph Buona, Sean Williams, and Ken Reed, and current Supervisor Matt Letourneau, the lone survivor of the 2012 board. This opening isn't the end of the road or the last stop to speak of. For me and my colleagues, improving transportation across our region remains a top priority, and I'm so excited to see the many ways we'll be able to do just that, thanks to investments like the bipartisan infrastructure law, which includes, among many other things, dedicated federal capital funding for WMATA.
Yes, here, I'll start that one.
Along with new oversight and safety reforms to make the service the best it can be for all travelers. But today we celebrate the success of this long-awaited and transformative project. Thank you all once again for being here today and for your roles in bringing this project to reality. Enjoy the ride.
Thank you, Congresswoman Wexton. And I will say, as the General Manager of Metro, there is not a better congressional delegation in America to support transit than the way I've been in the DMV. It is incredible. So thank you to our entire congressional delegation. So now I'd like to introduce Fairfax Board Chair Jeff McKay, who has been referenced many times already, but obviously someone that has been involved in this project for a long time and also a former Metro board member. Fairfax County has been such an important partner on the project over the years, and Jeff's vision and hard work to ensure the successful completion of the Silver Line is improving the lives of people across the county. And I want to thank all of our partners and the staff at Fairfax County for their support and collaboration. I know how excited he has been for this day, because I think he mentioned it to me the first time I had a chance to meet him. And we know that on behalf of all the Fairfax elected officials and employees, they're also really excited to be here today and get this line open. So Chair McKay.
Thank you very much, Randy, and it is a pleasure to be here. Senator Kaine started with confessions about dreams, and I have to confess one, and I'm embarrassed to do this in front of Congressman Connolly in particular, but it involves the Silver Line. I was in a dream with Gerry, and Gerry was about to put my name in the congressional record for something. You know Gerry puts a lot of names in the congressional record. And right about the time I was about to learn what it was, my phone on the nightstand rang. And it was a landowner in Wexton, who I will not name, screaming to me about the latest delay in the Silver Line. So I never even got to get why I was in the congressional record, but it ended in the Silver Line in a different way. And so I have to confess that. But looking out into the crowd, this is almost like a family reunion. Looking at so many people who have been involved in making this happen. And along the way, families sometimes get into tussles and sometimes might need counseling and support. I feel like all of us felt that as we went through this process. But we're here today, right? We survived, and the Metro is here today. So thinking back over all these years, I have to first start by congratulating and thanking chairmen before me. Some of them have been mentioned, but this project spans 4 different chair people of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. Of course, starting with Kate Hanley, who was mentioned earlier. Also, Gerry Connolly at the time, who was chairman of the board, and Chairman Sharon Bulova, who's here, who did an amazing job making sure we got to this point, clawing our way through this process. And so big things take time. And this is a big thing. And what we've proven here today is with enough tenacity, enough partnerships, enough hard work, we can still do really big things when it comes to infrastructure that help our riders and help our economy in so many tremendous ways. I always speak about Metro when I talk to people about it not being an expense, but being an investment. We focus so much on the cost of things. We don't think about the cost of not doing things. And the cost of not doing this, think what a different place this area would be if it weren't for Metro. And so as you go out and travel the Silver Line, I know you will look around and you will see throughout the Fairfax County section of it, enormous economic development that's happening. New residences being built, new commercial office spaces, new retail spaces, vibrant communities, pedestrians, people who are living a different life because of the investment of Metro. And we know in Northern Virginia that our economy drives the Commonwealth of Virginia. We know that. And we must constantly reinvest in projects like this to make sure that our economy continues to move forward. This is also critical for the environment. You know, if you think about transit and what it does for the environment, we know that getting cars off the road is important, but all that development that you see is LEED certified buildings being put up in Fairfax County with innovative stormwater management facilities, taking pressure off the Chesapeake Bay and Potomac River, and cleaning up the climate in a way that only infrastructure investments like Metro can do. And that is the future hope of other generations as well, that type of growth, that type of investment in our community. I also want to thank all of the groups. I mean, I can't name everyone who was responsible for getting us here today, but I have to mention our tax district advisory boards. You know, we would not be here if not the people, particularly the people in Fairfax County who invested their own money, got into tax districts to make this project happen. Our tax district advisory boards, our local chambers of commerce, VDOT, NVTA, and NVTC, WMATA, MWA, numerous developers who are out there executing our comprehensive plan in Fairfax County, the hardworking staff of the Fairfax County Department of Transportation. And Tom Bashadny, the Director of Transportation, is here. Brian Hill, our County Executive. They and our Fairfax County team makes me proud every single day in executing projects like this. And so I want to thank them as well. And as others have thanked, I always want to make sure we thank the people who literally built the system. The people who are out here on colder days than this, much hotter days than this, sacrificing to make sure that this system could be built. And as we move forward, our train operators and bus drivers and people that literally move our people through the system. Without them, we wouldn't be moving, literally. And so we want to thank them for their dedication as well. And as I close, you know, please always, always, always help us in elected office refer to projects like this as investments, not expenses. Our community deserves these kind of investments. Our future land use and our environment require these kind of investments. And this is an international airport, as people have said before, in the strongest place in the world in the Washington, D.C. area that wasn't served by transit. And we're catching up in a very bold way here with so many other places that realize the importance symbolically of that and the investment that that will pave the way for moving forward. So on behalf of Fairfax County and our amazing Fairfax County team that made this happen, we are so happy to be here today. We are so happy to open this system. Let's get on the train.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Chair McKay. And Chair McKay's right. I saw a statistic the other day, and I hope I got this exact, but within a half a mile metro stations in the region makes up 30% of the tax base in the DMV, which is equivalent to 4% of the actual land. So 4% of our land is producing 30% of the tax base, because where metro goes is where communities grow. So thank you for mentioning that. It's really important. Now up we have Loudoun County Board Chair Phyllis Randall, and welcome to Loudoun, right, Metro, right? It's great. Yeah, there we go. Plus we gotta stay warm. We gotta, move our hands a little bit here. So we're thrilled to finally add that Loudoun County onto the Metro map. Reaching this day has been an unbelievable amount of work from our Loudoun partners, and we congratulate you and thank you for your partnership. Thank you for being with us to celebrate. I'm so pleased to the benefits Metro will bring to Loudoun, and I know we're going to be out there for an event in a little bit. Chair Randall.
Well, good afternoon. Secretary Buttigieg, Senators Warner and Kaine, my good friend Muriel, Congressman Connolly and Beyer, Chairman McKay, I want to welcome you to the best county in the country. I didn't have to say Senator Wexton, but Congresswoman Wexton, because she lives here already, so she knows how wonderful we are. So listen, why are we here? Well, of course there is two things. There's the macro and there's the micro. The macro is we're here to cut the ribbon on the Silver Line, which is a huge thing. The macro is what the Silver Line will do for the area, for people in general. The macro is the fact that this joins other multimodal transportation options. The macro is it will improve the environment by taking cars off the road. The macro is the fact that if you have mass transit built, then you can actually have more diverse and equitable living stations next to transit. The macro is the job opportunities that it brings. But we're really here for the micro. The micro is actually what's more important. The micro is this. This metro will allow the father who's working 2 jobs to get home in time to see his kid's soccer game. The micro is this. This metro will allow the mom, the single mom, to get home in time to have dinner with her kids and tuck them in the bed. The micro is this. This metro will allow the grandma to get to her grandson's play, to watch him be the best potted plant she's ever seen in any play. The micro is this. Yes, the elected officials, the community leaders, we get to cut the ribbon. But who are we doing it for? We're doing it for one reason and one reason only. Elected officials, community leaders, county employees, all over the country. We're here for one reason. We're here to make a better quality of life for the people that we serve. This is a great day. This is a great ribbon cutting. And a lot of people are to thank. But the people who we're here for are the people who may never know all that it took to get to this metro, all that it took to get today. The people who we are here for are the people who do not care that there's a ribbon cutting going on, to be honest. They only know that they can now get around, get to their jobs, get to their places of worship, get to their games, get to go shop, get to do what they couldn't do before. We're here for them. We know that this is a great day, and I want to take a moment, and although he's been thanked before, I want to thank my predecessor, Scott York, for bringing us to this moment. He's back there somewhere. But more than anything, I want to say that I know Mr. York and the whole board that voted for this knew why we were doing this. And it wasn't just for the economy, and it wasn't just for the environment, and it wasn't just for the housing that will go up. It was for every single man, woman, girl, and boy who is going to be able to live a better quality of life because we're cutting the ribbon that day. That is actually why we're really here. I also want to thank a couple of people. My friend Jeff already said it. There were people who were out here building this metro, laying these tracks literally in cold weather, in hot weather, and it took months to get it done, years to get it done. Thank you. There are people who are going to be driving these metros and all these buses and all the multimodal. They're represented today here by Ray Jackson from the ATU. Thank you. And there was county staff who worked for hours and days and weeks and months and years to get this done. Tim Hemstreet, the county administrator of Loudoun County, then, yes, give him a hand. Joe Kroboth and all of the county staff. I want to do something right now. If you are right now a county staff or a county elected official, past or present, please stand up. Please stand up. We would not be here without you. Before I leave, I want to say one thing and one thing only. let's always remember the people we're doing it for. Let's always remember that we're making a better quality of life for the people that we serve. This is indeed a great day, but more for them than for us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Chair Randall, and you're right. It's all about service, and it's great to be in a room with so many people that believe in great public service. So now I'd like to have the opportunity to introduce Metro Board Member and Loudoun County Supervisor Matt Letourneau. Also one of my bosses, so we're going to welcome him up really nicely here. Supervisor Letourneau, as many of you are aware, voted, and I would say courageously based on reading the record, in favor of bringing Metro Rail to Loudoun County over 10 years ago. With that vote, he and others on the board helped make this day possible. In addition to his service on the Loudoun board, since 2019, he has served as a Metro board member and has contributed greatly, including he's the current chair of our finance committee. Matt carries 3 phones. He's maybe the busiest person I've ever actually seen, and I'm really, really happy for Matt today. So Supervisor Letourneau, if you'd like to come up.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate the opportunity to share some thoughts with you, both as a Loudoun County Supervisor and as a Metro board member. So I want to take you back in time for a moment to over a decade ago. It's a lot warmer than today, July 3rd, 2012. That was the day that the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors voted 5-4 to be part of the Silver Line project. And yes, I'm the only member of the board left who was part of that vote. Our involvement in Phase 2 was necessary not just for the Loudoun part of the project, but for the entire phase. The funding plan depended on Loudoun County's $273 million contribution. Now, it may seem like a no-brainer to everybody here, but let me assure you that at the time, it was not a sure thing. Loudoun County had a deadline of July 4th to make this decision, and a new Board of Supervisors had taken office in January with 7 out of 9 new members, including me. The board had 7 rail work sessions, plus a public comment meeting with over 130 speakers. We actually had to let residents record message because the room couldn't fit everybody. Metro to Loudoun had many proponents. The majority of the feedback we got from those folks that Chair Randall was just talking about was positive. There were strong voices encouraging us, and that included the governor at the time, Bob McDonnell, the transportation secretary, Sean Connolly, and many in our business community. But there was also strong, organized opposition. And some of those fears, some of those opponents have persisted to this day. During the meeting itself, one of my colleagues opposed to the project actually made a motion to adjourn, so we couldn't vote in time. But eventually, the majority prevailed, and Congresswoman Wexton earlier specifically mentioned my 4 other colleagues. I'd like to thank them myself, Chairman York, Supervisor Bona, Supervisor Reed, and Supervisor Williams. Now, for some of us, there were some implications. At the time, we had a very active blogging community in Loudoun County, some commentary from activists, and I was given a nickname that was actually meant to be derisive. I was nicknamed Metro Matt. Now, they never could have guessed how accurate that nickname would end up being, given all the time I spend with Randy now. And I wasn't the only one. I know that Supervisor Bona's here, who drove up from his vacation home, and he was nicknamed Railroad Ralph. So every time there was some less than positive news about Metro, and let's admit that that happens, Metro Matt and Railroad Ralph would hear about it. As part of that board's vote, we directed staff to begin the process of setting up tax districts to pay for construction. And as we stand here a decade later, I can tell you that they have. They worked. In fact, they performed even better than what we anticipated, which is a testament to Tim Hemstreet and our outstanding Loudoun County staff. And at the time, we argued that development around the stations would create new revenue and benefit the entire county. And we were right. Since 2013, the assessed value of properties around Metro and Loudoun County has grown by 168%. That's over 100% higher than other parcels in the rest of the county. So I took my yes vote very seriously. I do feel a sense of responsibility to do what I can to help Metro itself be successful. I've been fortunate to have leadership positions at the Council of Governments, the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission, where we had a lot of good discussions about safety, about state of good repair, capital funding, lots of other issues. And we have made tremendous progress. And as Randy mentioned, since February, I've represented Metro jurisdictions on the board of directors, and we're working hard to weather the storm post-COVID. There's no doubt that Metro and transit more broadly has some challenges, and we'll need help to ensure that we can continue to provide our essential service. But I have confidence in our region, I have confidence in Randy and our team to come together and solve those challenges. And as for Loudoun County, our future is very bright. But against the backdrop of this gray November day, I think the Silver Line helps make it even brighter. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Letourneau. Now I'd like to introduce Jennifer DeBruhl. She's the Director of the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation. Director DeBruhl is here speaking on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia today, and we thank her and the Commonwealth for all of its support and Director DeBruhl's specific support of both our board and staff with all the work that we have ahead. So, Director DeBruhl.
Good morning. I was a kid living in Fairfax County when the Orange Line opened to Vienna. I can honestly tell you I never thought I'd be standing on this stage today for the Silver Line. So on behalf of Governor Youngkin, I am thrilled to be here today to represent the Commonwealth in celebrating the grand opening of the Silver Line Phase 2. Virginia is one of the only states in the nation to have a separate transportation agency with a focus on rail and public transportation. And as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation, I can stand before you and say that focus pays off on days like today. The Department of Rail and Public Transportation is proud to have WMATA as a partner. Together, we have created a more connected Commonwealth, and today is a shining example of what we can accomplish to improve the lives of the people who live and work in Virginia by working together. This is truly a transformative moment for public transit users in the region. The Silver Line, and this has been said so many times today already, but it can't go without being stated again. The Silver Line has made the Dulles Corridor one of the fastest growing business areas, not only in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but in the nation, resulting in millions of square feet of office space, retail, and residential development following the completion of Phase 1 in 2014. The Silver Line extension to Dulles and to Loudoun County is going to open more economic opportunities for Virginia, building on the success of the initial investment and making Virginia even more competitive for business. So on behalf of the Commonwealth, we look forward to the success of the Silver Line, our continued partnership with WMATA, and our commitment to providing transportation options that drive Virginia's economy forward and reduce congestion. It is truly a great day for transportation in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, Director DeBruhl. All right, so 1 year ago today, the President signed a little thing called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill. Yeah, right? Something amazing. And so our next keynote speaker really needs no introduction, but hey, I'm up here and I'm going to take the honor to do just that. U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Pete Buttigieg, has led improvements in safety, jobs, equity, climate, and innovation. As we mark its 1 year anniversary today, Secretary Buttigieg championed President Biden's signature bipartisan infrastructure bill, as I mentioned, and thanks to his leadership, the department has enabled the most significant improvement in U.S. transportation infrastructure in more than a half of a century. Every time I've heard him speak or to be interviewed, I have found the Secretary's work inspirational and encouraging to those of us who work in transportation every day around this country. So on behalf of Metro and everyone here in this cathedral of a station, I'm so proud to welcome Secretary Buttigieg.
Thank you and good morning. What a great day this is. What a pleasure it is to be here, and I am mindful of being the last speaker in an extensive program, so I'll keep my comments brief, but I can't miss the opportunity to celebrate with you and to offer my congratulations to everyone who made today possible, everyone who kept fighting for years and years and years, knowing how much it would help the people of this region. Senator Warner, Senator Kaine, as Governor Warner and Governor Kaine, thank you and congratulations to the representatives Wexton and Beyer and Connolly and everybody in Congress who helped make this happen, to chairs McKay and Randall and Smedberg, to the WMATA board, including Matt Letourneau, to Jack Potter, and certainly Randy Clarke, to you and your fantastic team. Mayor Bowser, who you have so much to be proud of in DC, and your residents, including my kiddos and spouse and myself, are delighted by today's news. And a big thank you and congratulations to everyone who, by their skill and by their sweat, made this actually possible physically, and will begin getting it up and running in a matter of moments, including the members of ATU Local 689, who I'm pretty sure are excited to get out there. Thanks for what you do to keep us moving. So many of us have so many strong associations and memories when it comes to Dulles Airport. Well, I wasn't expecting to go quite as far down memory lane as Senator Warner took me. But I certainly remember the excitement that I felt when a bus dropped me and a bunch of other students with backpacks slung over our shoulders to get ready to board a jumbo jet to take us overseas for a scholarship that changed all of our lives. I remember the knot in my stomach when a cab dropped me off here a few years later to catch a flight to Kuwait and on to a war zone for the first time as a civilian economic advisor. And a bit less dramatically, the many times as transportation secretary that I come here to catch a flight. And so many people, either in their greatest adventures or in their everyday routines, count on the transportation in and around this airport, in and around this region. When the airport was first opened almost exactly 60 years ago today, President Kennedy said that the building symbolizes the aspirations of the United States. And I think the same can be said of the Silver Line today. Allowing people to affordably get to where they need to go, whether it is a baggage handler working at the airport or a federal employee, yes, commuting into the District of Columbia, or a software engineer working at the terrific tech employers who are here. So many will count on this and will benefit from it. And I think all of us in the DMV have that experience of a friend saying that they're coming to Washington, they're flying in, and you're so excited. I can't wait, I'll be there to greet you when you come. And then there's that little pause. Wait a minute, which airport did you say you're gonna be coming to? Awkward pause no more, because it will be easier no matter what. And it's a very fitting day for this celebration. And not only because, as I would be remiss to omit, it is the birthday of our Federal Transit Administrator, Muriel Fernandez, so it is a welcome birthday gift. But also, as was mentioned, the one-year anniversary of the President's bipartisan infrastructure law, one, by the way, which would not have been possible without support from each of the House members and senators that you saw speak earlier, and we thank you for that support that got us to this point. And just like many of us would say of the Silver Line itself, not a moment too soon. We have been waiting a long time, nationally, for the investments that are allowing us to fix roads and bridges, to allow us to reconnect communities that were divided in the past, to say yes more and more times to more and more great applications for improvements at ports and airports, including, by the way, right here at Dulles, where a new 14-gate concourse will improve access to passengers right in and out of this region. Just a few of the literally thousands of projects that are underway, and that reflect the vindication of those who believe that we need and must pursue these kinds of infrastructure investments. And what we've seen with the passage of the infrastructure law, with the projects we're helping to deliver, and what we see here with the Silver Line, is democracy at work. And yes, as anyone who has ever survived a public hearing or meeting knows, sometimes democracy in action can be a lot to bear. But at the end of the day, people have come together to make things better. And as Chair Randall so aptly put it, this is more than anything about everyday life. Because this room, Senator Kaine and Mr. McKay and others, we are in the minority, I think, in terms of literally dreaming about public policy and public transit and transportation. But everybody has dreams about faith or about family or about enterprise or whatever it is that makes them tick. And we don't even have to know what they dream about to know that what happens next when they get up in the morning, whatever it is that makes them tick, they will be better off because of the environmental benefits, the economic benefits, the safety benefits, the affordability benefits of excellent public transportation. So I join you, much as I felt in my first months and a year or two as mayor, cutting ribbons on things that my predecessor had set into motion, knowing that this is the result of what many people who have come long before us have done. I'm here more than anything to join in that celebration, to urge you on, to represent a resolutely and enthusiastically pro-public transit Biden-Harris administration, and to offer my warmest congratulations to everybody who's been part of this. Thank you very much.
Have